American motors. But first, let's take a little trip into the past. Remember this car? We tested it a few months ago, the Mitsubishi Starion Sports Coupe. This is the one America's newest importer hopes will get you into their showrooms. But at $12,000 plus, the turbocharged Starion isn't the model Mitsubishi hopes will sell the most. Chances are the average buyer that comes in to see the Starion will actually drive out in this car, the bread and butter Tredia four-door sedan. Now, along with the two-door hatchback Tredia, it's aimed at other imports such as the Honda Accord and Nissan Stanza, and domestic cars such as the Chevrolet Cavalier. With a base price of $65,399, the Tredia comes in three levels of trim: a standard no-name version, the mid-level L, and a top-of-the-line LS, which at $8,599 is the subject of our first road test. The long association between Chrysler and Mitsubishi seems to have rubbed off on the Tredia in a couple of very positive ways. Styling is unusually clean for an Oriental. A simple black grille extends to fender-high turn signals, the current American rage. Except for two functioning air outlets, there is none of the overdone scoops, lights, and body creases that usually taint Japanese designs. It's hard to believe that the same stylist did both the Tredia and the much busier Starion. The interior also has the American touch. The single-color molded dash is broken by darker visual relief. A solid black strip runs the full width of what is a very clean-looking panel. Controls are well-placed and simple to operate. But Mitsubishi couldn't quite control all their temptation for excess. The steering wheel looks like a cross between a fighter plane and a video game. And on the instrument cluster, which provides more information than most subcompacts, we've got the gimmick of the month, an airflow indicator. Just in case you really wanted to know, it tells you how the fine ventilation system is moving the bad air out and the good air in. We'd rather have voltage and oil pressure gauges. Another design quirk: the electric window controls can easily be triggered by the driver's knee. Front seats give adequate comfort and support. In the rear, two big adults or three small ones will find lots of head, leg, and knee room, the result of a slightly longer than normal wheelbase for a subcompact. And do you want a clever answer for how do you carry long items in a small car? Well, try an inside door to the trunk. Side. It's also ideal if you want to toss something rearward without getting out in the rain. The reason behind a door and not a full folding seat back is the vertical forward-mounted spare tire. That ensures an enormous trunk. However, the lid opening is a bit short and the rear sill high for heavy, bulky loads. Like all its competition, the Tredia is front drive. But here the transverse engine is turned the opposite direction from most, and it is a cramped installation. Too much is located on the left and almost nothing on the right. While access to plugs and dipsticks is good, oil filter and belt changes will be very time-consuming. But how does the 2,400-pound Tredia move? Fairly well from its 1.8-liter four-cylinder. A time of 13.3 seconds to accelerate from 0 to 60 is within our average range. That is a range we expect, but don't often find in most economy cars. Power comes by way of a single overhead cam and an MCA jet head design that incorporates an extra valve per cylinder for more complete combustion. While that may improve economy and emissions, it causes some surging during hard acceleration. But better than average low-end torque did produce an acceptable time of 10.4 seconds and a speed of 51 over our 500-foot on-ramp test. But, as usual, small motors meet their match in our 40 to 55 passing test. A time of 6.3 seconds to get by a pokey vehicle is just too long. All acceleration tests were made with the optional 4+4 manual gearbox in the power mode. With the economy fifth gear placed behind the other four, times would slow at least 13% and really be unacceptable. You'd be better off opting for the traditional and standard 5-speed. The Tredia proved itself to be a better handler than we bargained for. While all the normal front drive traits are present in modest amounts, understeer, torque steer, and a light rear end, control was very predictable. Steering is through a fast power-assisted rack and pinion unit that has good feel. The The only 2.9 turns lock-to-lock and four-wheel independent suspension lets the driver maneuver sharp turns with below-average trauma. Power front disc and rear drum brakes also did their jobs as designed. Halts from 30 miles per hour were 42 feet, again within the average range for all cars. Likewise, our rating for stops of 140 feet from 55. Pedal pressure is light. Most subcompacts will stop shorter than the Tredia, but seldom straighter. If a lot about the Tredia seems uninspired yet reasonable, you're right, and that includes mileage. The EPA rates the 4+4 manual at 26 city and 34 highway in the power mode, and 29 city, 40 highway with the gear selector in economy. We gave our Tredia every chance in our 100-mile test loop and used the economy gearing only. And while our car was very new, a combined test mileage of 31 is not particularly outstanding for a subcompact. So the newcomer Mitsubishi Tredia sedan can be summarized as basically a good design. It has very clean styling, above-average interior room with adequate handling and power, and should be considered carefully by all potential economy car buyers.